I recently did a photo shoot at a hotel. It wasn't an ordinary hotel. This one is a little bit different. Different in a way that lent itself perfectly to a vintage photo shoot with some more modern elements. Let's talk about how I prepared for the shoot, what kind of prep work I did, what I brought, and how I set up when I got there. Normally, if I am doing an on-location shoot, I like to visit the place to get an idea of what it's like and what types of opportunities that I'll have within the space. This time, though, my location was out of town, so I couldn't actually go there. I did, however, check out the website and look at photos of the rooms and the overall decor and mood. That at least gave me a direction for styling the shoot and starting to think about how I wanted the photos to look in the end. So, on to styling. The first word that came to mind when I saw the photos of the room was Baroque. It reminded me of kind of a watered down version of some of the interiors from the Baroque period. Think Marie Antoinette. Lots of, gold and pastel colors and very feminine. So since the room was so distinctive, I had a definite direction that I wanted to go with how I looked as the model. I wanted kind of a modern twist on the vintage look, so I brought a couple of outfits that would be complementary to the environment and some makeup that would fit within the theme. Now let's talk about equipment. Lighting first. Since I was going to be in close quarters and traveling to the shoot, I wanted a smaller lighting setup. And the Linco Morning Glory convertible softboxes were perfect for that. I brought a couple of these. They're small, single head fluorescent lights. And with them, I can do a variety of lighting looks because these lights can actually transform. So you can see that it can be a softbox like so, or I can take this cover off and make it into a reflector, or I can actually pull this together and I can turn it into a snoot. So that's great for on-location shooting. For those, I also, of course, brought an extension cord just in case. You never know where your power outlets are going to be. And then as backup, I brought a couple of speed lights, just in case. You never know what's going to happen, so I brought a couple of those. On to cameras. I normally bring a body and a backup, plus at least a couple of lenses. This time, I brought my Nikon D800 with the 50mm f1.8 lens on it, and a Nikon D600 with its kit lens, the 24-85. And I also brought this 24mm f2.8 lens, which I ended up using a little bit with the D600, but it was kind of just a, just in case type of thing that I brought. It's so small and little, so I, not a problem to stick it in my bag. I also brought my Nikon V1 with the 18.5 f1.8 lens. I'm shooting this video with my V1 right now, so I can't show it to you, but I brought that camera just in case I wanted to shoot video while I was there, and really just because I like it and I really wanted to play with my new 18.5mm lens. I decided on the D800 and the D600 out of my collection because I'm preparing for a death match between the two, and I wanted to kind of start my evaluation. Even though that I was using two very different lenses on them, I could still kind of start to see, how they each behaved. Incidentally, I also brought my little tiny speed light for my V1, just in case I wanted to use it as an optical trigger for my speed lights. Of course, I also brought some extra memory cards, extra camera batteries. The super awesome thing is that all three of the cameras that I brought use the same battery, so that was awesome. And I also brought a tripod just in case I wanted to use it for video or, something else maybe. So I loaded everything into my bags. I have this large low pro sling pack that I use for my cameras and lenses, the speed lights and batteries and cards. And then I put the fluorescent light bulbs themselves in this light bulb carrying case. I brought a couple of extra bulbs just in case. As for the Morning Glories themselves, since I was driving them in my own car, I simply, collapsed them and kind of put them down like this, and I just loaded them into the back. So that's it. I ended up using all the cameras. It was such a great location that I just wanted to keep shooting. For light, I used a combination of natural light and the Morning Glories. The speed lights didn't actually even make it out of the sling pack. One extra thing that I brought was a friend to help me to take the photos. And I'm really glad I did because I was able to get, or we, I guess, were able to get so many great shots in just a couple of hours. Going on location can sometimes take a lot longer than in-studio work because of all the unknowns. You certainly don't need an assistant, but Since I was taking self-portraits, I was really glad I had one. So the photos from all 3 cameras from this shoot are up now on Snapchick.com. I posted photos from the separate sections of the shoot, so there are 5 posts, but they all have modern vintage in the title. I posted sample photos for everyone in each of the posts, plus a few technical details. I also posted galleries of images in each post. Also, there is an extended version of this video for VIPs only in the 5th post, where I go into more technical detail about the shoot, like lighting placement and inspiration and challenges. Let me know if you have any questions.